All right, so now I want to take you through AI agents, and AI agents are effectively an automated vehicle to separate true signals from all the social noise that get signals can bring in, because not everything is going to be necessarily relevant. Not every profile or contact is going to be qualified or a core part of your ICP. Not every post will necessarily be relevant to alert a human to take some action. And action is really the big word here because the AI agents make all of this plethora of data instantly actionable on autopilot. So you really do configure your AI agents and set it and forget it. It's really a critical piece to making Get Signals a much more useful tool because again, social data is large and vast, and you really do need a mechanism to filter out the noise, and that's what AI agents are. So I'm going to take you through that today, just with a couple quick use cases that I think will quickly illustrate what it is that you can do and where the value lies in AI agents. So the first part, if you're new to the platform and you're just getting into it, our approach to handling artificial intelligence is a bring your own API key model. So if you're just getting started, you're going to want to cruise over to integrations and just connect whichever model you prefer, whether it's OpenAI, Perplexity, XAI, using Google Gemini. If you want to use Claude with Anthropic, all these are native, and they'll give you a quick link as well if you need to some direction on where to generate an API key for any of them. So today I just have OpenAI configured, and that's what I'm going to be showing you this quick demo using. So AI agents can process data for two different objects within the Get Signals platform. The first are social posts that are discovered and exported from your signals. And the second are contacts that you export from engagement. And that could be authors of posts, any folks that like a post or comment on a post. So when you create an AI agent, it's essentially creating a virtual container that is going to be powered by a specific prompt, and then gets assigned to different tasks. And that's basically in the form of adding them to a signal. So as new posts come in on your signal, if you have an AI agent that is assigned to process posts and they're assigned to your signal, then every post that comes in is going to be run against your custom prompt for that agent. And then, the output is very flexible, and I'll show you that in a minute in terms of what the AI agents can do once they process a post or once they process a contact. So let me just start by giving you an example of an AI agent. So these are just some samples that I already have created, and one of the real powerful mechanisms of AI agents is you can string them together to sort of create a workflow of AI agents. But let me do this. So first off, I have an AI agent that's called qualify ICP and then find email. And this one is geared towards processing contacts that I'm exporting from relevant social posts that are found by signals. So I'm going to show you what just a completed view looks like, since it obviously models the creation. So within your AI agent, you're going to select the data target. So again, it's going to be contacts or posts. You're going to select your large language model provider, whether that's OpenAI, XAI, Google Gemini, Anthropic, so on. And then you're going to pick the specific model that you want to use. And we keep these fairly updated, and some of the providers will provide a real-time feed of models that are supported by your API key. So when available, we do use that. So this is kind of just the baseline configuration for your agent. And then the next part becomes creating a prompt for the agent. Now, the great thing with most of these models, nowadays is you do not need to be a prompt engineer to put together a, quality prompt that will get the job done. If you do need help with it, I would actually recommend using, the actual provider, hop into the playground, like again, whether you're using OpenAI or Anthropic or Perplexity. And you can just tell them what it is that you're trying to achieve, and that you're trying to write a prompt, and you can get a good, really solid prompt that way in just a few minutes. So if, in this example, what we're trying to do is just pull out whether or not the contacts that we're bringing in are in the B2B space, are in some way connected to go-to-market or revenue for the organization. And by virtue of that, asking the prompt to output one of two options. So in this case, it's, yes, B2B if, they are part of our ICP, or no B2B if they're not. And then we're providing some data that we're inserting into the prompt automatically when the AI agent goes to process each contact. So you have all these variables. So 50 different data points from the social profile and also the company profile of the contact that we've already exported. And then also context around the original posts that brought them in. So if you want to use that, and then if they commented and that was part of the engagement piece that brought them into the signal, you can use that as well. So in total, you have almost 100 different data points that you can insert into your prompt to get more accurate output, depending on what it is that you're looking for. But definitely a very popular one is just, quite frankly, are these folks in my ICP or are they not? So once you have your prompt done, then we can cruise into the actual action piece. And the whole idea behind AI agents is it really is a, if this happens or if this is observed, then do this. So it is a light workflow component. So right off the bat, we can do a couple different things. So we can automatically apply a tag to a particular contact using the output. So I'll show you what that looks like. So if I wanted to add a tag that was yes B2B or no B2B, then I could simply do the output tag, or I can do a static tag as well. And tags are really useful for organizing contacts and filtering them through a couple different views within getsignals. The second one, which I'm going to show you the use case for this in a little bit more detail next, is updating a data property, including creating custom data properties. So one that I'm going to show you next is actually generating like a one-liner or an icebreaker for a contact based on their LinkedIn profile. And that's a really powerful one because then you can tie the personalization field, the custom data property, into any of our integrations. So whether using Lead Forward, using HeyReach, Lemlist, Instantly, Smart Lead, you can push that into their platform using our native integration to personalize your outreach. So I'll show you that next. Well, that's an option. But what I want to focus on now are conditional actions. So in this particular case, you can define different actions, multiple different actions based on the conditions, which are going to resolve around what was the output of the AI agent's prompt. So in this case, if it's yes B2B, then what I want to do is I want to proceed with trying to find an email address for that contact, right? If it's yes B2B, then what I'm going to do is also push them to write an icebreaker next, and so on. So, I mean, you can see that this, and again, this is all designed to run on autopilot on the back end. So, you're not doing anything while this is actually being executed. So, and there's nothing that you have to do once it's configured as well. And then for no B2B, if that's the output, then we're going to create a tag that they're just a bad fit. But there's many different options that you can choose from in terms of what actions you want to take after or based on the conditional rule. So like I said, I mean, I want to enrich the email because you can just enrich emails of everyone that you export automatically. If you're trying to save on credits, there's no reason to, potentially go and spend a credit on enriching someone's email address if they're not part of your ICP. So that's, kind of the thinking around this use case. And as I mentioned before, so in this case, if they are part of our ICP, then we're using the send to AI agent action as well. And this starts creating up like a chained link between multiple AI agents. So if there's a lot of different steps that you want to take with AI agents, basically, conducting entirely different prompts, then this is a great option because you can essentially infinitely send them to agent after agent based on whatever workflow it is that you're trying to achieve. And it's all very simple point and click. You don't have to create a, complicated flow chart, of if else conditions on all this. We try to make it very simple so even a novice user can put these together. And generally speaking, I find that, there's there's not a relationship between a more complicated automation schema being more productive in terms of filling your pipeline with better leads. In a lot of cases, I find that the complexity, one, keeps people out so they don't even, get started with it. Or two, it's just so overly complex that you can't manage it, and it's impossible to track whether or not it's working for you anyway. So back to basics, trying to keep it simple with this UIX, but obviously let us know how we're doing. So in this case, I'm going to be pushing it to an AI agent. And then again, if they're not, a part of our ICP, then I'm just going to flag them as bad fit. So this is the contact approach, and you're not limited on AI agents either. You can create as many as you want. You're going to find that, in a lot of cases, each signal that you create may demand a specific AI agent. So you don't have to, worry about creating too many or being limited. There is no limit. And then just really quick in terms of, the whole goal here with AI agents is really to make this data actionable in the moment that it's discovered. So like, for example, when it comes to routing or automating outreach based on what you're finding in these signals or what you're finding in these contact profiles, this is like a great example of what you can be doing with actions. So, assuming that we've now run our contact through the email finder, I can create this prompt here, which is very simple and something we actually do in production for getsignals. Is I want to basically automate the outreach based on whether or not I have a verified email address versus a risky or no email address found. So in this prompt, I'm just instructing the AI agent to, basically saying, hey, look, here's the result. Is it a verified email or not? And its response is either going to be email verified or email not verified. So with that data, if an email is verified, then I want to push them into an email outreach sequence, right? And if the email is not verified, then I'm going to push them into a purely social sequence. So a lot of it is, and again, you can actually choose both if you wanted to, depending on, what your outbound playbook looks like. And multi-channel is always better than just one channel. But if you did want to split it up and you did want to make it focused on the data you have, and you wanted to focus on different platforms for different types of profiles, like whether or not you have an email address or whether or not, all you have are their social, this is their social handle, you can do that with AI agents as well. And obviously you can dig even deeper into this, and you can have the AI agent come up with different buckets. If you have within your ICP different, buying groups that they can identify, your AI agent can identify, you may have 10 different campaigns or sequences that you want to route people to based on what this agent is finding inside these LinkedIn profiles. And again, all this happens in the background automatically. So that's contacts. The next option is posts. And this is, if you're doing, like, for example, creating signals around, topics, so keywords or hashtags, or monitoring posts where, certain social handles are being mentioned, whether that's company pages or personal profiles. There's a lot that comes in, potentially hundreds of posts per day. And some of these posts, depending on what your use case is, for example, if you are monitoring your own brand and you want to see how different profiles are mentioning you and the context are mentioning you, and maybe the sentiment, like, is it negative? Is it positive? This is a situation where it'd be great to have an AI agent picking through that post and then saying, okay, well, this is a negative mention, using, either your brand as a keyword or actually tagging your, company page or maybe a member of your team. That's negative. That might be something that you want in a Slack channel as soon as possible, or in someone's inbox to jump on, and creating a human in the loop style situation where they can get right in and, try to arrest the situation before it gets out of control. So that's one thing, and that's kind of like a brand protection use case. The second would be if the topical post that gets returned is someone that fits your ICP, that is actually looking for recommendations for different products or different tools that you might be aligned with to solve their pain point. Or if there's an immediate recognition of a pain point, that might be something that you want to jump right in and either comment on the post or reach out one-to-one. So for these types of situations, the post monitoring can be extremely advantageous. Or it could just be as simple as, look, we have our signal configured to export engagements, but we're going to run all of our posts through the AI agent first to see, is this post really about something that is relevant to our ICP, that would be a magnet for our ICP? And if it's not, there's no reason to waste the credits exporting engagement for an audience that's being drawn to a post that's not relevant to you. So they can do that as well, which I'll show you now. So in this particular again, very plain spoken prompt, I'm just asking the AI agent to determine if the post would be relevant to our core audience. Is it talking about lead generation? Is it focusing towards marketing growth and professionals that would be interested in that? And it's just a simple Boolean request, yes or no, and the output, and then I'm including the text for the actual LinkedIn post. And then this is what I was saying. So in terms of the actual actions that you can take, so if the post comes back and it's no, then what I'm going to do is discard and skip any engagement export. So that basically means that it's going to arrest any future processing of that post. So no reactions are going to be exported, no comments are going to be exported. And more importantly, if you have the option to export contacts from the engagement, none of that is going to happen because we're just going to deem that the post is not relevant. And then just a silly example of what you can do is, if it's a yes, then, send an email alert. So the notifications, again, that piece is really important. If, you're crafting a prompt that is looking for something that is urgent, that you want in the hands of a human being as soon as possible, or in the purview of a human to take some type of immediate action. And these are typically, very small volumes, so it's not going to generate too much noise. I mean, make sure you craft your prompt around that with some very specific examples of what it is that you're looking for. And it could be as simple as, they're mentioning our brand and the AI agent is determining that the sentiment is negative. Because it's going to be something that's going to be, shooting an email to your inbox or lighting up a Slack channel. So it's obviously not made to be volume driven. So those are the two most popular sort of use cases that you can implement on day one, ICP retrieval and recognition, and then qualifying posts around, whether or not it's a attractor of your audience. So now, okay, so once you have your AI agents, what and where do you apply them? So the first is going to be on your actual signal configuration. And one thing I didn't mention that is important, and I'm going to mention it now because it works the same when you assign an AI agent to a signal, is that the actions or the conditional actions are run sequentially, meaning that, if you have 4 in a row, they're technically 1, 2, 3, 4. And for the second to trigger, the first one needs to complete, and then so on. So if you have something where there's a dependency, right? So let's say, step 1 is finding an email, right? And then you have step 2 where you then want to push it out to a sequencer for outreach. Well, in that case, it will work because if no email is found, regardless if there's an email found or not, it's not going to be pushed out, or step 2 is not going to execute in tandem with step 1, meaning that if there is an email result, it is going to be used before step 2 triggers. Or, for example, if step 1 is to generate an email icebreaker, and then step 2 is to then push the contact to a sequencer, again, that's going to happen before it makes its way to the sequencer. So it's sequential. They're not done, all together or anything like that. And the reason I say that is because even on a signal, you can assign multiple AI agents to run on a signal, and they also run sequentially. And you can, as it says right here, agents will execute in this order. And you can move them up and down based on their priority, and you can, mix them as well. So if you do have a signal that is going to be exporting contacts. You can add AI agents that are also going to process the post or also process contacts as well. So you're not limited to one type or the other. So so the first thing with signals, this is on step 3. This is under the main configuration. You'll get. Let's start right from this. Here we go. So this one already has a AI agent assigned to qualify the post. But you click Manage AI Agents, it'll bring up all of your AI agents. You can search for them. You can preview what is actually in the prompt and then what the AI agent will do conditionally after the execution. And I mean, all you do is select what you want, and you can, like I said, you can change the order. No matter what, no matter where you place a post, posts are always going to be processed before contacts, logically, just because the posts come in first before any engagement, and then certainly before any contacts are exported as well. You save changes, then you have your lineup there. So that's the first position. Now, a tip for you if you were just getting started, what I would recommend is letting a signal run, collecting, the raw data, and then taking a look at the raw data, through our reporting and then also through the contacts view, just to get a sense of what's coming in and what it looks like. And the other, huge benefit is you can trigger, one-off AI agent jobs to one or many folks inside the contact manager. So it's as simple as, checking the checkbox for, whomever you want to do and this is, this will execute, in a real life production manner. But it's a good way to test and see, what the output is. So if you want to test the output on, how well it's generating icebreakers or, any type of summary or any type of copy that's going to a custom data field, you can do that, this way. And, if you want to see how your, overall flow is working, if you have multiple conditional actions inside of one agent, it's just a great way to kind of test and validate, how things are working. And it's exact same format as assigning a signal or assigning an AI agent to a signal. Go through same, preview, see what's what, add them, and then simply click process contacts, and it will go through in real time and actually trigger the AI agent. So those are the two mechanisms for how you do it when they're assigned to signals. Obviously it's not manual. That will happen as part of your signal processing every single time a signal processes. And yeah, that's pretty much it. But again, I think if you're going to get anything out of this tutorial, it's that AI agents are really what make these social signals both actionable and really help you separate real signals from just what would otherwise be social noise. So I hope this was helpful. Feel free to reach out to us if you have any questions at any time. Otherwise, thank you.